Hey everyone, and welcome back to Planet Zoo, and welcome to the second episode of the hyper-realistic red panda habitat. Stick with me, this is gonna be one of my best videos ever. Yes, I'm going that bold into this video, but I think I have a fair reason to do so. Now, this habitat is definitely, without a doubt, my most realistic habitat I ever built. There is a lot going on in today's video. This speed build is relatively quick and I already did cut out quite a lot. So if this is too much for you, if it's too quick of a speed build, I recommend jumping over to like 15-ish minutes into the video. This is where the real-time part begins, and then you will see all the final stuff. Now, you will have this video now, but if I do my job correct here, you will also get this as a blueprint available in the description. And if I am even better today, I will even put that into the first comment. Now, this video is so special because there are so many things I did that, you know, they are basing, this is all basing in research, but also I spoke to Eben, who is the brain behind many of the realism aspects of Koali Zoo. And he's actually, you could call him professional because he obviously works in that field. And so, you know, it makes a lot of sense to speak with people that have actually this knowledge. And I'm starting right away today here with some of the most important bits that he told me after I sent him a couple of screenshots. Now, the first thing is that he told me a lot about how to handle red pandas and that they mostly need a habitat that can be separated into two individual habitats, if you will, that both feature an indoor and an outdoor section so that the animals, you know, that you ensure all the welfare for the animals. Now, this is something that was a bit tricky, but I will succeed in doing that with a lot of, basically shutters, as you can see over here, like some separation elements, let's call it that way. These are all like kind of garage doors, if you want, that you can slide up and down, but we actually built them quite detailed. So this is also another point of today's video. There are a lot of individual little things that add to the realism. I might say though that there are a little bit, how do I put this in the best way? Now, I could have gone even more crazy. I decided to stop at some point here because you could consider this already super realistic. There are a couple of things I still need to do, and here's a little promise. I will do them as the next episode, and I will basically try to, you know, make a video only with some realism pieces, you know. That's something I'm also considering to do. I'm not sure if I can do again an advent calendar. I wanted to do that again, but I'm not sure if I can actually push like 24 things out. I'm quite confident to say that I won't. But yeah, so this is my plan, and this is why I don't have them in here. But you will see there are already a couple of those. Now, you will be able to download the full blueprint, and as soon as I have more things, I will all put them in. And as I have them all in here, I will then basically put the individual ones also out as little blueprints. And there went the baby phone. Not really sure if you heard that in the background, but the little baby decided to actually got awake a little bit more early than she should. So we put her back in, and now she's finally sleeping again. I'm looking to the screen right now. She's still not lying completely, you know, still, but she definitely needs some more rest now. Anyways, let's go back to the voiceover. So as I said, I will provide you with all the blueprints, and then you can, you know, use them in your wonderful parks if you want. And yeah, this is actually something I will continue doing. I think we will need to do another realistic habitat, and this is where you guys come into play. Please make sure everyone who can, and I know there are a couple of people who watch on a smart TV, and so this is maybe a bit complicated, so everyone who's capable of putting a comment down, please help me out now by giving me an idea what realistic habitat you want to see next. I think this is a very good change of pace for the moment to focus on realistic habitats. And as I said, I'm trying to build one zoo that is actually only realistic habitats. I might even stay in this file over here, even though I'm not sure if I, you know, do it that way, because the idea is if we have, let's say 10, maybe, it's quite a number, but if we have 10 realistic habitats, this could then become a zoo that is focused on a completely staged and thought out layout, you know, because when we have these 10 habitats, we can actually go and really plan the zoo out around these habitats. And I think this is a brilliant task that we haven't really done yet. So I'm really looking forward to that, and I really hope that you guys are looking forward to that as well. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below if this is something that you guys can work with and, you know, want to see. If so, make sure to, you know, leave me a comment on what kind of animal you want to see next. And if you have some references of realistic habitats that you have visited or that you desperately want to visit, let me know in the comments as well. But let's talk a little bit about, this habitat itself now a bit. The basic idea I talked about already in the first episode. By the way, if you haven't seen the first episode for whatever reason, link is to the top right. You can click that little info button and then, you know, just do it. This is something really interesting. I actually had in mind to build a different habitat for a different animal, but that has like left and right, some kind of, you know, two separate areas with an indoor and outdoor section. And then I figured, you know what, I just love the fact that the red panda is something we haven't done in a long time. And honestly though, all the red panda habitats I did were mostly in franchise, and they were more functional than anything else. And I wanted to build finally one that is just paying a bit more tribute to these cute animals. And I did a bit of research, as I said in the first episode, just kind of how you would lay them out and how you would work with perspective to make sure that, because they are shy animals, that they are still going outside and still would use the space available, even though there are some guests. And now, speaking of guests, this was considered to be a habitat that you can place into your zoos, which still, it kind of is a dead end, because you just have that little area in which you go down into. This is the very little valley. Just valley is the wrong word. It's sunken down a tiny bit in a pit, simply to ensure that you have this incline of the habitat and all the facilities are level picking with the normal ground. So if you put this down, the blueprint, the ground level will actually be where you can connect the staff room and everything in the back, you know, but in the front of the habitat, everything is sunk down a little bit. That has many advantages, to be honest. So first advantage being, you have the capability of working a bit more with the perspective, and it really gives your zoo automatically a bit of better sidelines, because there is a tiny bit of change of elevation, which always helps. And to overcome the elevation, by the way, we have also one bit over here which is definitely needed in a realistic habitat like that, and this is a ramp for wheelchairs, and, you know, making sure also for strollers, by the way, not only wheelchairs. Being a daddy now, we know how important that is to always have a ramp for a stroller now. This is pretty important. So this is what we do over here. This is like a little ramp for wheelchairs and strollers, that they also have access to this area. Very important, even though it's non-functional, but since we don't have them in the game, you know, it is what it is. I still put that in. I think it's very important to have it. Now, going on, you can see I'm putting some plants in, and I'm trying to stick, obviously, to the plants that would be somewhat in this area, but also very temperate plants. So whenever you have a temperate zoo in any kind of area, it can be Central America, Central Europe, Central Asia, also could be, you know, going slightly towards taiga would also work, or taiga, is it? I think you would say that taiga in English. That definitely works as well. You know, in a tropical zoo, you might want to change the foliage a tiny bit, even though most of it potentially would grow there anyway. So I tried also to focus on using plants that would grow in most of your guys' zoos. Makes the whole thing a little bit more, you know, simple. And then we also have an official backstage access over here. You can see this is the tiny pathway that connects the guest area with the staff area. And I think it's very important to mention that this was something I considered from the very beginning, that we will have this access as well. Stuff that I usually don't think about, and then I just have to crap that in somehow, and it most likely never looks as intended. Speaking of as intended, this is a very intentional plug over here before we talk about that. I would really love if you guys could watch my Timberborn episode number 1 I released yesterday. First of all, because I really love the game. I'm super impressed by the game. It really was good. But I also want to hear your feedback if that is something that we could play a little bit. Maybe in the stream, maybe in the future. I'm going to link this to the top right with the bubbles as well. But please have a look if you have a couple of spare minutes. You can skip through the video if you want. But I really think this game deserves a bit of attention. So yeah, if you guys have a minute or two, please jump over and give it a feedback. That would be amazing. Thanks very much. Now you speak, okay? Not me. Let's speak about this gate. This is the gate that I meant, and this is like kind of a sliding gate. So the idea about this gate mainly is that it has different elements, and it just slides down as basically like these kind of things you also have like in a flat, to prevent the sun from coming in. And it has some individual elements, and they roll down, and they are very thin metal pieces, and they kind of overlay each other. So this is the reason why they have a very compact design when you go to the top, But when you go down, they slide, they're just couple of centimeters offset, and then they slide into position after each other, and then you have this wonderful gate which mostly separates most of the animals. Some stronger ones you wouldn't be able to separate with, but the red pandas definitely work with this. The cool bit about this is you can also cover some very interesting areas where the ground is not perfectly flat, because these individual elements are also capable of moving within each other, so that if they has a bit of a different terrain elevation on the ground, the left hand side can be a tiny bit higher than the right hand side, but they still seamlessly connect to the ground, which I think is a perfect solution for a gate in a zoo like that, because you mostly never have the perfect flat ground, and so this is why I made this. And you can see this is where we make the separation of the habitat. One little hint to that: this is meant to be a separation on a fictional basis. So it is there, but you never would use that in Planet Zoo. I made this solely for the purpose of realism, as most of the things, speaking of which is this next element here. Again, you will all get these things uploaded to the workshop. So this is this is pretty much, I don't really remember how you call that, but many zoos have something like this in place, where you have a kind of door to put the food in, and then you can grab it from the other side. Mostly you do this with the bigger carnivores and stuff, where you can slide that in so they can eat from that, so you don't have to actually get into the habitat. But there are also a couple of these things that you use basically to shorten the way, because as you can see, the setup over here is pretty common, that you have the room in which you prepare the food has a direct window, or at least sometimes it's even in the habitat itself, from which you can watch the animals, and this is what I wanted to use here as well. But since the staff member has to go all the way around, I thought it might be clever to have this little gate in which you can plop the food in and then grab it from the other side, so you don't have to basically carry that all the way. And in a normal zoo, you not only have one keeper, sometimes they work multiple keepers, and then someone is preparing the food, puts it in that thing, in the best case it's even cooled, so then it can stay in there for a couple of minutes, and then the other keeper, who is, I don't know, maybe cleaning the habitat right now, can then get there and grab the food and put that into position. That is it. Now again, another note from Eben was to have some enrichment items, and so I made some custom ones here, even though they're not really custom ones. I just put some clutter down, and we imagine that these are some little rods or stuff in which they can play. And now we come to maybe my favorite item, even though it looks as if I'm going to cage this little one here, but no, I'm not. I'm building a little transport box, and that was a struggle. Guys, this was really a struggle to build it, but it turned out better than I expected, and I'm quite happy with this. It really is a wonderful little box, as it turned out. But yeah, this is most of it what I wanted to talk about the habitat. There will be a lot more talk in the real-time part. It's actually more than 10 minutes. So yeah, prepare for some really cool first-person experience of this habitat. Now, I want to use these last 1.5 minutes before we jump over into the real-time part to just say generally thank you. Thank you guys for your insane support. I just check the video, the old video, the first episode, because I wanted to see how far I got in the time lapse so that I don't cut away too much. Now, I saw that the video has 12,000 views by now, nearly, and I'm just like, wait a second, this is a Planet Zoo video in the middle of nowhere, and it's Red Panda. Why has it so many views? Guys, your support recently is amazing, so thank you guys so much. It really means a lot to me because as you know, there's a lot of different content on the channel right now, because I want to diverge the content more a little bit, to have more different things in, and it seems that you guys are really appreciating this. And honestly, I, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for your ongoing support. It really helps me out a lot. This is really insane to see. I'm always happy to read all the comments, so please keep on doing that. I try to answer as many as I can, but it also helps me to improve upon my builds. It helps me to improve upon my videos in general, and yeah, I'm just really thankful for all of you supporting the channel so much recently. Also, the increase in subs is just amazing. So if you're not subscribed yet, but you like the content, please consider doing so. That always helps, and you know, that is really cool. Yeah, thank you. This is what I wanted to say. Thank you guys so much, and I hope that you also enjoyed today's video. I certainly have to say, even though more than 10 hours went into this entire habitat. That's insane. Like 10 hours in the last 2.5 weeks went into this habitat. Like each evening, like half an hour, maybe an hour, I put to build on here, and then in the live streams. It's just ridiculous. But I enjoyed it a lot. Certainly, I don't want to build every realistic habitat 10 hours, but I think the more we build, the more habitats we build, the more used I will get to certain things, and it will make the process a lot quicker. But nevertheless, it was a lot of fun. So again, little reminder, if you guys love it as much as I do, please let me know in the comments down below what animal you want to see next, that we do a realistic habitat for, and if you have any references, put it also down below in the comments so I can check that out and do my research. Until then, I really hope you enjoyed the voiceover. We are now nearly cutting over to the real-time part, so have a lot of fun in the real-time part. Thank you so much as always, and I'll see you after the cut. Hey there, welcome to the real-time part of potentially my best habitat to date, as I already talked about a lot in the real-time part, but in the voiceover. But you know, some people just like to skip over, and hopefully I remember to make a little jump mark. You can see the 2 red pandas already here in the back. It already shows you exactly my process of thinking behind this, and we are going to have a little look at this habitat now with all its different little things that makes it so realistic in comparison to things I usually do. So first of all, you have this big inviting area here in front of you, which offers you a glimpse at the left hand side, which is the outside habitat, and the right hand side, which is the indoor section of the habitat. Now, there are a lot of things that I did research for, and also Mr. Eben helped me a lot with a little bit of a chat in our quality chat. Actually, we annoyed the others by just chatting all about this, but yeah, you've got a little seating area here to the left hand side. You can see there's some skid marks on the ground to make it look a little bit more worn out. You can see one of the pandas standing over here as like a little sign, and speaking of signs, you obviously have a lot here in front of you. So there's kind of a little almost like as if this is one of these wonderful, look at this, there's the hidden cam, and you got this view to look inside of the habitat. This, by the way, is an older version. I'm a bad person. This is an older version without the tree, because Eben again also told me that usually in these habitats you won't have the fencing above, because you would use the space to go, well, higher, you know, to have some trees and stuff in which they can chill. And so I made this tree in the middle, which becomes also the new kind of stable thing that holds these climbing frames together. And yeah, you got this climbing frame above the the enrichment item down below, in which they can just gather some food and stuff. Yeah, you've got like a little bit of a note here where you can see some notes, whatever this is. And if you want to book a backstage tour, you can in fact do so by going in here, have a little glimpse again in the habitat, see if you can see someone, and then you just go here, book a tour, you know, hey, yo, you know, giving a tour. And there's also, you can see there's a little glimpse glimpse inside of the habitat, which you will see in a couple of seconds. Here's then also the indoor section, which you can have a look at if you fancy doing so. By the way, I'm just mentioning this now. This, I think, with the lighting and stuff here on the wall and on the window and stuff, this looks almost picture perfect. Like, this is exactly what I remember being in a zoo. This looks, even though it looks chaotic a little bit in the middle, it just looks exactly how it should. Now, also with this little shade over here is like a little bit of a glass roof, and you know, you could go out here. We also have a disabled people access, like for the wheelchair access or so. And then you can use this little area here in which they just tuck away the rope, and then you can go to the backstage area from which a keeper is just coming. You know, the theming goes all the way, well, it's basically disappearing. You have a little glimpse inside of their staff room. There's a couple of stuff laying down here. You can see a pinboard, which is a custom pinboard you've seen in the time lapse. There's kind of a little recreation area here for the staff members, but also the point to gather around for the tour. And it's just going to be like a minor tour. You can see there are some notes on the table. There's like a box already lying around there. And this is where the entrance is. You know, nothing crazy going on here. This is just like a fancy little area for them, which is just the staff room. But then you go in, and then boom, you are in the habitat. And this is the backstage area of the habitat. And even though at the first glance it doesn't really look like a habitat, this is just how habitats look in the backstage area. And yes, the animals actually move through here. You still have a couple of systems in place so that they don't get into trouble with some of the pieces and stuff. So for example, the pinboard over here, you can see there's like a glass door in front I actually made, which you have to open and close to ensure that they can't get to these pieces and chew on the paper, which is obviously not good for their stomach. And then you've seen this already on the screen on the information, but this is actually where the keeper, we can have a little look here. The keeper is now preparing some food just in front of us, you know, and actually, instead of basically going out of this area and then bringing all the food all the way around, he or she could basically put that in this little cup here, cupboard here, or whatever this thing you would call that, and then you just go around and grab it out of here, and then you have got the stuff right over here in your hands. This is the idea behind this. You got some sleeping opportunities for them that you can potentially also close down. There's the keeper. By the way, this is what I meant. You don't need to go all the way around. And then over here, you have another sleeping opportunity. I don't really know why you throw that down here, mate. You do have a couple of opportunities to put it down. Well, whatever. This is the stupid person. I love this wonderful little detail people in the stream actually made me do. This is like this little piece that stops the door from slamming into the edge of that piece, you know, so you don't destroy the door all the time. But yeah, so moving over here to the left hand side, we do have a little bit of a different sliding door, which gives you access to yet another backstage area. And then you can see there are some transport boxes over here as well. There are some different enrichment items that seem to be not used. There's especially like a rod that is used as well. Even also told me that this in particular is something that they would have here, but also some discs and stuff, you know, all these things that wouldn't be in usage right now from the animals. And you can see there's one of the tunnels that gets them from the backstage area into the actual area that the guest can see. Now going on, we've got a couple of just like food trays and stuff, whatever in here, and there's another tunnel bringing them into the actual habitat. Now this over here is in particular made to offer the staff member a little glimpse inside of the habitat to just get a quick check if everything is fine, you know, if there's everything going on or whatever. So you can't see everything, but you just get a little glimpse if there's anything happening or not. Same goes on the right hand side and also through here as well. Now there's one gate, as you can see, made over here. There's a little button. You press the button and the gate would slide down. It's made out of individual pieces, so it can actually also go down here, and then this closes off as well. I will talk about why this is in here in a bit, but if we move forward, you can see there's also like a little door Here you can see there's even these kind of door thingies that make the door rotate. I have no idea how this is called in English. You can see the same sleeping opportunity from the other side. That is actually, you can close them off. There's also like a little camera for control reasons in there. And here is to another gate. So you can see there is another gate right in front of us. I'm just going to quickly show you this area, by the way, from the inside. Just going around, there's another camera there to get a check on these animals. And you can see there's like some wonderful climbing frames here on the top. And if you look into the back, you can see this is the access to the tunnel. Now keep that in mind, that there's the access over here, because imagine you're going to pull this door down as well. Then this area becomes fully locked off for the specimen that is living inside of this area. This door would also be closed, and the same happens to this shutters or these shutters and this gate as well. Now this means you have one specimen that is living in this front area, so basically where the guest can look at it from the outside, and it can move all the way in here and has like a separate little indoor section on its own if it wants to have that. The other specimen though is basically living in that backstage area. It's got its own tree and stuff and has this tunnel. Basically it owns both tunnels, and it can go all the way in again. I'm just going to quickly show you. It's in there, and then you can use the other tunnel, which I'm going to rush to real quick. So it can actually use this other tunnel to then get into this area. Now why would you do that? This is rather complicated, isn't it? Yes, well it is, in fact, because I didn't plan that from the get-go, and I had to get a little bit more creative here, simply because even told me that it is very common that you have the ability to split the habitat in two, because once they get babies, or like during the offspring time, the males can become very aggressive, even towards their own babies, and at the very worst, they're even able to kill them. So you wouldn't allow them to get together with the babies. Hence, you need two separate areas in which you can hold them. They need to have all the sleeping potential and stuff like that. And they have different sizes, because obviously I want to guarantee that the family, like being, the mama and the babies, have enough space, as well as the one single male specimen. And so the back area is basically bigger to make sure to get a good care of the babies and stuff. And then the front area for the male one is a little bit smaller, but very much separated from each other, so that they can't get any aggression towards each other. Now there's also the chance to close off these two areas, like lock this down, and then just keep that door. The reason for that is the access to the information. If you want to clean something down here, or if you need to, whatever reason might occur, you can still close that off. And you could even go in and separate this in a different way by having this central thing come down and just lock this area a little bit, so that they have to pass through there or there. For whatever reason, that would be useful, but I thought, if we are going that route, this must be done as well. Yeah, I think there's not that much more, but I really hope you guys enjoy it. So far, there's like this little, generator, like, this is basically solar array to get all the power, which goes all the way in the back. You can see there's like the power cable down. Obviously we also have power cables all the way in the front where the screens are, so they are all connected with the power cable as well, so they just don't exist there. There's actually a power cable connected, even though they are floating here. I should definitely check that. But this one, see, there's the power cable going down. There's also like a little standee for the power cable. I'm gonna have to check that other one. But yeah, this is it. This is the tour of, as I said, potentially my best habitat yet. This is how it looks from the bird's view, and I think it really shows that you can build hyper realistic things in that game, even if you, like me, normally focus on a bit more creative build. But I think it's not like an opposite. It can work together. I really think the design of it looks really cool. I mean, it's like modern-esque, it's nothing too crazy creative if you want, but I think it's definitely like a modern, very nice building, and would be definitely more on the expensive side of things for the red pandas. But yeah, so This blueprint is going to be uploaded to the workshop, so fear not, you will receive this, but I have to do some fine-tuning so I ensure that this can actually go exactly into your park. So if I have it done for the video, you'll find the link down below in the description. If not, I'm gonna make like a little update on my community wall and all the other places where to find me, that is uploaded, because I want to ensure that everyone can use that properly this time. Yeah, other than that, this is it. I really hope you guys enjoyed it so far. As always, a little hint, if you want to support the channel a bit more, you can either way subscribe, which is totally for free, or you can become a member on this channel, use the wonderful camel emotes, get a little early access to some of my save files that I will eventually give out to everyone. So yeah, if that's something you're interested in, do so. If not, that's perfectly fine, because way more important than that is that you guys all stay safe now, have a wonderful weekend, and I talk to you in the next one. Thank you and goodbye.